Welcome to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So, stay with us as right now we present for some reason my anyway, if you can hear me, then we're doing well. So
Yeah.
my computer is taking a vacation, I think, but
It's being annoying.
yeah, we'll be all right. Asher Warren is our guest
Hi.
today.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. You are first of all, you and I have a mutual friend.
We do.
And
Yeah.
yes, we do. She's a young author
Author.
herself, Shanti.
Yeah. Shanti. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Now, do you guys go to the same school?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Well, that's cool. And
Yeah, she's amazing.
yes, she is. I'm trying to figure out why my headset isn't working.
That's
No, I
weird.
guess it is. Okay, never mind. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're here to talk to you about your writing and who you are and what you're
Yeah.
doing, and you're a podcaster and you're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I am. It's a lot going on at once. It's crazy.
So,
Yeah.
what got you into writing?
So I don't exactly know what got me into writing. All I remember is that like I used to just like draw little comics when I was younger, like probably like 3, 4, like little horror comics, because I was always obsessed with horror because my dad showed me a Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 3, which I should not have seen. And then because of all my little comic stuff, when I was 7, I went to some little summer program where we would like handwrite a short story and then they would publish it to the Library of Congress. And after that, I would start taking like writing classes in school, and then I just got more into it. My stories got longer, and then eventually it led to my first published novel,
Which was
Maniacal, which released
ah.
March of this year. Yeah.
So you did one in March and
Yes, one in May.
one in May as well. Now,
Yeah.
are you self-published or do you have a publisher?
No, I self-publish.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good. So who does your illustrations?
I like my cover design. So for my first novel, I just found someone on Fiverr because I always like supporting people. So I go to Fiverr for freelance art. But for my second novel, one of my friends really wanted to do it, and he was an artist, so I let him do my art for me.
Oh, cool. And that one
He did
came
a
out
great
well.
job.
And the name of the
Oh,
second
yeah.
book is?
The second book is The Trees Are Breathing.
And we were talking a little bit beforehand, and what you're
Yeah.
finding is the first book was well received. The second book was better received.
First one was okay received. Not amazing, not bad.
Well,
But there's a reason for that. So
what was the reason for that?
well, when I announced my first book, it was probably like mid 2022. And so at my school, I had people could pre-order, and then I'd give them the book in person, and I would like write their name down. And the editing process took so long just from a bunch of complications, so that eventually I was like, okay, screw it. And I published it even with some mistakes, just to like get it out there. Cause I was like, everything was so stressful. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I hit publish. So it's out there with like a bunch of mistakes. So half the people reviewed it and were like, okay, I can see this is a young kid who published this book with all his mistakes. I can give him credit for that. Let's see what he has in the future. This isn't that bad. And I was like, okay, thank you for giving me the benefit of the doubt. And the other half of the people were like, this is awful. But you can't really like take it personally, which I don't. I don't take it personally. If it's a bad review, it's a bad review. It's not for everyone.
No. Well,
Yeah.
What's interesting is that there's lots of things that you can be doing except for writing, and being
Yeah.
that you are going to go into your junior year in high school
Yeah.
and stuff. Is it just that you just love to write and you've got all these ideas in your head?
Yeah, I love it. It's so fun because I always like telling stories. So I just like writing. It's something I love to do, and it's something that I, at least, not to sound like cocky or anything, that I think I can do well. So I just love it. I do it every day, all the time.
And when you're writing, do you just take a pad and paper and just think of
No,
things, or
no, I always somehow have an idea in my head. So when I write, I blast music from my speaker. I open my computer. I go to Google Docs. I go to a blank document and I just write. And sometimes it's just like something that I'll end up scrapping, or sometimes it ends up being a book that's going to be published.
So what is your process? Do you there are people that do an outline and they make a
Yeah.
three-dimensional character and they do all of that.
Yeah.
What is your process?
So I kind of do a little bit of everything. As I talked about this in a previous interview, I have ADHD, which heavily, like, it shows in the way I write and the way I do things, because sometimes it's super organized, sometimes it's all over the place. So for a book like The Trees Are Breathing, where it follows only like pretty much two characters the entire novel, I created them, their personalities, their background, and everything on an outline to make it like creating a person from scratch. I had to know everything about their lives. And then I did the same thing with the book. I created an outline and then I wrote from there. And I did that with Maniacal too, but it was a lot more loose. And I did that with my third novel, which was even looser. And then the fourth one, which I'm writing now, there is no outline whatsoever. I'm just doing it.
What's the fourth one about?
So my fourth novel was going to be a sequel to my third novel, which is called Remorse and Regret, releases this Halloween. And it was going to be a sequel, and I cannot say what it's about because it would spoil the third one. But
Ah,
I got 15,000 words in, and then I scrapped it
oh wow.
because I was like, there was just something about it that didn't seem like my style of writing. That there's something that didn't seem right. So I scrapped it and I sat down on my computer for like 3 hours just thinking of what I could do. I only had one thing in mind, because it's something I wanted to do since I was a little kid, was write something about zombies, because who doesn't like zombies? And I was like, I have to make something more interesting than that. So I can't say anything about it yet because this is actually the first mention I've ever made of this book. So I can't really say anything about it. But all people get to know is that it's about zombies. And it does connect to my previous novels, as do my other three. They all have connections in some way.
Very good. So what got you started writing about zombies?
No idea. I remember that, like, when I would write short stories, a lot of the time I would write short zombie stories back in like middle school, 8th grade creative writing. And we would always do like peer edits. And whenever people would review it, it was always my zombie stories that people liked. It was always those ones. And I'm a huge fan of the TV show Walking Dead and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go a different route and write something about zombies. But I obviously have to add a little twist in there to make it not just about that, which I'm doing. But I'm still trying to kind of figure that out.
Well, when you're writing about zombies, are these so you need to explain to see zombies when I was growing up were not a thing.
Really?
It,
Okay.
nobody really, there was the what was it, The Living Dead?
Night of the Living Dead.
Yes, and which
Yes.
is goes back that far, but there really
It's a
weren't
good
very
movie.
many zombies. So what makes somebody a zombie? How do you get to be a live person and then become a zombie? Are you bitten by a zombie?
So in different like media, there's plenty of different ways. Like in like The Walking Dead, I don't remember exactly how, but I remember Walking Dead, it's even if you just die. Because I'm pretty sure there was something in the air. If you die, you become a zombie. There's certain things like the TV show The Last of Us. There was something where something was wrong with a food source, and if you ate it, there was some sort of chemical that would turn you into a zombie, and then you would get infected by biting. In mine, I'm going the chemical route rather than like the supernatural route. So I'm trying to figure out exactly a way to do it. I've kind of settled on something, which again I can't really say because I haven't really, talked about this book before. But at least in my universe, I'm going the like chemical artificial route rather than like it just happens supernaturally.
And so when you become a zombie,
Yes.
what are you thinking about?
I don't know. I want my characters. I want to change zombies a little bit than just like mindless, like in The Walking Dead. Because have you seen that TV show, The Walking
Yes,
Dead? Because in
just
that show, they're
briefly.
not much of a threat, right? Like towards the end, they're not much of a threat. They're just kind of walking around, little. So when I create, I'm still trying to figure it out because I'm not that far into this, so I'm still in the planning stage. When I think of zombie in this, obviously it's going to be like brain eating, crazy looking creature, I guess. But I'm still kind of planning because I want to do something a little different than just the average, brains, like mumbling around.
I'm eating brains
Yeah,
today.
I want to make something more aggressive. Add stakes. Unlike the shuffling, I want to kind of go the World War Z route, which in that movie they run.
Yeah.
They're extremely flexible. They're smart. They know how to use tools, and they run. That's what I want to do. This.
And it's interesting. What got you started with? Was it watching these shows that got you started with the horror genre?
Yeah, so I got, like I said in the beginning of this, I got started in the horror genre because my dad showed me a Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 3. This was back in 2010. He showed me the reboot, and he also showed me Resident Evil. That's probably how I got into zombies. And I just kind of fell in love with it because I like being scared. I think it's fun, which a lot of people I know hate it. They hate it so much. So I show them horror movies, and it's just because horror movies don't scare me. It's always like funny to watch them be scared. So I think my love for horror just grew from that, watching that. And then as I got older, I watched more things. Was I allowed to? No, but I did. And I just slowly grew, like fell in love with the genre and all the subgenres of horror. Because I think it's just amazing.
Now, did you ever see the movie The Exorcist?
Yes, I have. I saw it a long time ago.
Did it scare you? It scared me.
No, no,
No?
no. There are I hate to sound like, I don't know, cocky again when I say this, but there are very few movies that have scared me. Maybe 3 ever. That is it.
Did you see Jaws?
Yes.
Did you go in the water after that?
I already have thalassophobia, which is the fear of water, so I don't go in the water regardless.
Oh, okay.
So, that wasn't really a problem after watching Jaws. It was just kind of like, sealing my already like beliefs of not wanting to go there.
And so give me a movie or two that have genuinely scared you.
So there's a found footage movie. I think it came out in 2011 called Grave Encounters. It's about a group of people who like cliche TV show where they like film themselves going to scary areas. But this, I don't know what it was about this movie, but I saw it when I was like 12, and it genuinely freaked me out because it seems so real. And then there's another movie called Terrified. It's a Spanish movie, and I think it's like a ghost movie. I don't even really remember. I haven't seen it in so long, but I remember that was the only movie ever that I've covered my eyes to, like in fear of a jump scare. No, and I saw that like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I saw it on my birthday with all my friends in a mini theater, and all of us did not want to leave, leave a group outside of each other after that. That night we were like, we're sticking together. We're not separating. It was
Have you seen the commercial of late about the, I think it's a Freddy Krueger character that is chasing these kids, and they're going to hide behind the chainsaws and that. Have you seen that commercial?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, it's next time it's on, pay attention to it, because it's kind of a takeoff of every horror movie that's ever been made. The girls fall down.
Yeah.
They hide
Stumble on
behind
air.
they hide behind the chainsaws. They are going to go into the woods, and they don't get in the running car. So anyway, it's just a silly little
Bunch
movie.
Of cliches.
Yeah, and everything about it. Yeah. So I imagine that you try and stay away from the everything that has been done before and to come up with something new.
So not in my first book, Maniacal. I talked about this on a previous interview, was that a slasher novel, it is impossible to not be cliche if it's a slasher. If you look at every single slasher movie, the only difference is creative kills, but it always has to be a stumbly character, like stuff like that. It always has to be like not going for like the clear escape. So my first novel is a cliche novel, which I did that on purpose because it's a genre that people know and like, even if it's cliche. It's like it's slasher. There's millions of people that love that. But then the rest of my novels are not.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people like to be scared?
I have no idea. Rush of dopamine maybe, or just like a rush of, I don't know exactly. All I know is I love it. Like whenever there's a haunted house like nearby, or even like Halloween Horror Nights in LA, I always go to those. I love it. I don't know what it is about it. I just love it.
Well, it's some people just like to be because there is a rush. There is a chemical
Oh yeah,
rush that goes on in your
100%.
body.
Yeah, it's just a pure adrenaline. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, the slasher movies that you do, what was his a weapon of choice?
In which one in my book?
Yeah, in maniacal.
Plenty. There were plenty. I got creative with some of these. The most creative weapon I think I chose was it's a CO2 it's called like the wasp knife. It's a CO2 knife. It's meant for underwater. I don't know why Siri is activated on my computer, but so what it is, it's a blade where you put a CO2 cartridge in the handle, and where like the point is, there's a small hole. It's like I said, it's meant for like if you're underwater, like fishing or something, you could spray and like get like dangerous animals away from you. But if used on like a human, injected, it's a huge, super fast compressed spray of air, which causes an explosion. And I use
Dude,
that. And yeah, there's one chapter where it's just a massacre, and he uses that as his weapon of choice. And it
and by
is
the way, when
brutal.
you introduce bubbles into your bloodstream, it can that can kill you all by itself.
Oh, exactly. 100%. Yeah. Because what got me into that weapon in the first place, I was scrolling through Instagram, and there's a video of some guy who was like, I'm reviewing this knife. And I was like, okay, what is this? And he put it into a watermelon. And he pressed the button, and it just goes boom. And I was like, and I was writing the book at the time, and I was trying to come up with some sort of weapon to use. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to use that. So,
That is so interesting. Now I saw Jaws in a drive-in theater. Do you know what a drive-in theater is?
I know what a drive-in theater is. Yeah.
You're one of the rare ones because most people have never seen. Have you ever been to a drive-in theater?
I haven't been to one. I really want to. I just don't know if there's any nearby. But that would be I've read about them a lot. I've seen them in like movies. I know what they are, and I would totally go to one. Those seem awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're gone now because they take up a lot of land and land values have gone up and
We
all
have
that kind
things
of stuff.
similar nearby, but we'll have like there'll be like there's like the town hall, which is like a little creepy abandoned area near where I live. And what they'll do is they'll have a huge projector, and it's not exactly a drive-in, but people can just walk by and sit in like this field area and just watch there. That's the closest thing we have to it.
Yeah, yeah. Now in the drive-in theaters, there was a speaker that you put on your window
Hmm,
and stuff so that you could control the volume and stuff. And for
that's
after
cool.
that, there was one that you hooked to your antenna, and
That's
then
really cool.
yeah, and then it would play through your sound system in your car.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what are you gonna do with you? Well, first of all, I got to ask you. This is your fourth book coming up. What do your parents think of the genre you're writing in and all of that stuff?
Okay, so my mom is like, besides me, the biggest horror fan I know, so she loves it. My dad, when I used to write short stories, he was a little worried about me, because he's not the biggest horror fan. But he read my first book and did not like it because he was like, Asher, oh, this is interesting. I'm a little worried. And then he read my second novel where I made my dad the main character, and
Did he live?
it may have been a little biased towards that, but uh, my family members that didn't like the first one for how like grisly it was, even though the second one is like worse, like trauma wise, they loved it. They thought it was good, so they like it. They support me now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, do you like writing well enough? I mean, you're doing it at an awfully young age. Are
Oh
you
yeah.
planning on making a career at this?
I mean, if I can, 100%, that would be great. I I mean, like, there's things happening that like 7-year-old me writing my first thing would never imagine. Like this, me even a year ago, there was not a shot I would ever think I would be getting interviewed. at all. Like, this is crazy for me. Like, it's absolutely insane. And like, even next Saturday, I'm going to be attending. I have a booth at the San Diego Festival of Books. So I'll be signing books there, and that's also crazy. Like, I didn't think I'd be able to do this stuff. So it's going well at such a young age that I think I'll be able to turn this into a career.
I indeed. Who's your favorite horror writer?
This is gonna sound really interesting. I don't read much, but I don't read. But if I have to go horror author, this is one that, like, he's not necessarily scary, but just from like nostalgia factor. I don't know why Siri keeps on activating. For nostalgia factor, I gotta give him as my favorite horror author. I gotta go R.L. Stein. When I
Who?
was R.L. Stein, he wrote
Oh,
the
okay.
Goosebumps books. Because when I was in elementary school, the I mean only books I would ever read was Goosebumps, because there's hundreds of them, if not thousands, and each book is different. So they each have their own unique plot. So whenever it would, like, okay, class, reading time, everyone would go pick up like fantasy or like romance, and I would be the only kid going to the horror section picking up a Goosebumps novel. But
So
he's my favorite horror author for sure.
so if you had a choice between Harry Potter or a horror book, you pick the horror book.
Depends on the horror books. I do like Harry Potter. I will say I do like Harry Potter, but it depends on the horror book. Depends.
Gotcha. Now,
Like, I do like fantasy books, like Lord of the Rings, Hobbit. Loved those too.
yeah, what'd you think of the movies when they came out? Have you seen them?
I have, yeah. So I thought Lord of the Rings is probably one of the best trilogies ever, like movie wise. It's phenomenal. Hobbit's good too, but it's not as good. When it comes to the books, I liked Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings because it was obviously shorter and easier to understand. But I thought movies were fantastic.
Yeah, so you could grow up and be what about Stephen King? Do you ever
I watched his movies and I've read his books. I do think he's great. He would be second for horror author. He's
ah
amazing. I read It when I was like 11. Uh, that was a wild book.
did you ever see the movie Stand by Me?
I was just about to say that's probably one of my favorite movies.
Ah, because that's about a kid that gets hit by a train.
It was based off the
And
book The Body. Yeah,
yeah, and so they spend the whole movie trying to find the body.
yeah, it was great. Wasn't Shawshank also Stephen King, or was that Green Mile? One of them was him.
Green Mile.
Green Mile. Okay.
Yeah, which was yeah, he's prolific. He's done a bunch of stuff. See, and you can do that too, because like
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, she found um, Harry Potter, and she became really, really wealthy and well known.
Yeah. I've tried other genres. There was a book which I started writing, which was more of like an action novel, like revenge novel, and I was like 150 pages in, and then I was like, nah, I just deleted it. That's just how I am, though. I was like, there's certain rules I have. I don't like writing sequels, and I don't like going out. Like, I can. There's the two genres I really like diving into: horror and drama, and a mix of the two is my favorite. Like, that's what I did with my third novel, Remorse and Regret. That novel is just pure sadness, but at the same time, it's the scariest novel I've written.
Well, now, as you know, this is Positive Talk Radio. So, and you write sad things, you write slasher things. Tell me
Yep.
something positive about your books.
I'm trying to. This is going to be a hard question here. I don't know. I don't like happy endings. Well, I'm trying to think of. I don't. That's the thing, is I always like shocking the reader with like setting up someone as like having a happy ending and they don't. So I don't know. Positive. Oh, okay. For the friendships I create in my books. I the book that this book, my second book, Trees of Breathing. This book right here. The dynamic between the two main characters, Adam and Richard. I'm just gonna call him Dick. That's what he's said as in the novel. Adam and Dick. Those two characters, their relationship is just so amazing because they're just two lifelong friends, and you can see it. that's something super positive because they're really funny together. They know how to solve problems together, and they're just probably like my two favorite pair of characters I have ever written that I ever will. They're just the best.
Well, I'm not gonna ask you if one or both of them gets
Yeah,
slashed up and killed by the end of the book, so we'll leave
yeah.
that to the reader to
That can be
pick up
for
the
them to
book.
decide. Yeah, that's up to you guys. You can read it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
By the way, if you want to find out more about, Mr. Warren, you can go to warrencreations.com, and you can find out all about him and his books and listen to his podcast, which, by
yeah.
the way, he's doing on an occasional basis. I
Oh yeah,
would
no, it's
recommend.
like every other month. It's like not even.
Yeah, I'd recommend that you get on the schedule and you stay on the schedule and it'd
It's
be
hard
like
to.
I know. Well, you've got
We
so many things
try.
you do.
Exactly. Well, we did a schedule. We had it planned, but then we would like tell our parents too, like, listen, we have a schedule. And then out of nowhere, his parents would book him a surprise vacation. And then, or he would like have something super important to do. And then when he was like, oh, I'm ready to film now, it would be the same thing, but with me. So
Yeah.
it, like this whole summer, I was gone for 3 weeks traveling. And then he's gone for like a week and a half traveling. So like it's so hard. So I texted him and I was like, "Hey, dude, we got to film something. We got to do like a mega episode, like a really long one, because we've been gone for like 2 months." And he was like, "Yeah, you're right, but I'm not in town right now." I was like, "Come on, man." So when school starts, I think I can find time to actually have a schedule this time.
So when you're not writing, what are you doing with yourself?
There's a lot. When I'm not writing, I a lot of emails, a lot of trying to book podcast interviews, but then a lot of the time I just hang out with my friends or Shanti. So that's it. I hang
Yeah.
out with them a
Now,
lot.
Shanti was telling me that she does, I forget what it is. It's a board, something, or she does something outside. I'm not sure
I
exactly
don't
what
know
it is.
either.
But
She hasn't
so
talked to me about that.
yeah. So do you do sports at all?
Yeah, I weightlift and then I box.
Oh, you're a
I
boxer too.
yeah, I haven't I've been not doing it as much this summer because I ended my membership, but then I went back because I hosted an exchange student for a week and I took him to the boxing gym to show him the bags. So I got a free lesson then, and as I was hitting the bags, some adult, like some grown man, thought that I was doing so well. He asked if I was a coach and asked for advice, and that was such an ego booster that I decided I'm gonna go back. Because like I box on my own time. I've done it for a year and a half now. I wouldn't say I'm not going to say I'm amazing because boxing is so incredibly difficult, but I would say I'm not bad at this point. So I definitely want to go back.
I have a story about boxing. Can I tell you?
Of course, yes. Tell.
Um, this goes back a ways. When I was 19 in 1977, I
Not that
saw
long
the
ago.
movie Rocky in the theater. It was the first run, and it was like dun, 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 and so I thought that would be a really cool thing to do. So I went home, and there was a gym. It was a professional gym on 7th and Union, and I hooked up with a trainer. His name was Joe Toro, and he'd
Mhm.
trained several heavyweights of note in the local area, including, now this goes way back, so you won't know any of these names, but like
Okay.
Boone Kirkman or Ibar Arrington or some of these local heavyweights and stuff. That the only Boone Kirkman, his claim to fame was he got knocked out in the second round by George Foreman in Madison Square Garden. So that's like his claim to fame. But anyway, so
Yeah.
I started training there, and at that time I was really very strong, and he thought, and at that time also Marvin Hagler was the middleweight champion of the world, and
Mm.
he thought that I could become a boxer of note, and so I started training, and then we went to Monroe Reformatory, which is a prison, to because we would fight the inmates on in the AAU program,
Yeah.
and and they said, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to match you up with a guy of equal ability." Well, when you're in prison, there's nothing else to do but train, and
And
so
work out. Yeah.
and work out, and so um, I did well the first round and almost knocked him out, and
Mhm.
then came out the second round, and you'll appreciate. And I got it. If I give you one piece of boxing advice,
Yeah.
When they say protect yourself at all times, they mean it. Never
Oh,
drop
I
your
know.
hands.
I know. I
Never
made the
drop your
mistake
hands.
once.
So I was against the ropes, and the referee stepped in to break us up. I dropped my hands. He hit me with a right cross and knocked me out, and I fell and got up at the count of 5, but my cheek was broken
Oh yeah.
and blood was everywhere and all that
That's
kind
not
of
fun.
stuff. So that was
I've
that
only,
was the end of my boxing career.
yeah, I've only been knocked out once, and it was not fun, and it was an illegal shot too. I was
Generally,
sparring.
it is.
Yeah, I was in a match with some guy. He was a lot younger than me, like a couple years, but he weighed a lot more. He was a lot bigger, and he had been going for a lot longer than I have. And he threw an overhand right, but he was a southpaw, so he threw an overhand, and he tripped. So all his body weight and everything went into the back of my head. So I was just out. I got up a little, like it was probably like still like a couple seconds later, but I was like I couldn't see straight, and they were like, "Yeah, we should probably end this round." But he didn't win because it was an illegal shot. So I was talking to my coach, he's an old Italian guy, and he was telling me what to do against a southpaw. So the next day, I'm fighting the same guy for like a rematch, and he throws a hook. I duck under, hit him with a liver shot, and then I came around with a hook to the jaw, and he was out. He was out. He was just not there. And I was like, yeah, that's what you get, man. Don't hit me in the back of the head. And yeah. We're friends now. But we were definitely not back then.
That's good. I for one now in my olden age don't think that boxing should be allowed because all you're doing is trying to hurt somebody else.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
well, it is until you are in the receiving end of that. Then it's not nearly as fun as it used to.
No, I would say it's not. It's not.
Yeah. So when you got knocked out, did you get a concussion at all?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a concussion. It wasn't like horrible because I remember I just couldn't see straight, and I just stumbled out of the gym towards like the way back where there's like the bathroom, and I like just like splashed water in my face, and I was just like, okay. And then the other time I can imagine is I was sparring with some guy, and he was like he's been training for years, so he wasn't allowed to hit me as hard. It was just like a practice match, and I wasn't really hitting because this is like when I first started. Like this was back like a little over a year ago, and I was like, I'm too afraid to hit. So the coach is just like, he's not going to hit you, and then he walks away, and one of the training coaches pushes the guy I'm fighting out of the way and says, he's like, don't be a wimp, and he just hits me square in the nose, throws me way back, and my nose is like gushing blood, and the old coach, like the actual guy, turns around and is like, what happened? And he's like, he fell. And so I was like, okay, so I had to take a walk because again, like I couldn't see straight, and my nose, I couldn't breathe out of it because it was all clogged up. Not fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So although you should write a book about boxing.
I could. Boxing horror novel, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, it'd be like the boxing and the zombie thing. I don't know.
Some guy just boxes zombies.
Yeah, and well, see, look at it this way. It's kind of like if you have a zombie and there are two zombies in their boxing, and one gets hit in the head really hard, his head will fall off. See, and
That's true.
that would fit your genre.
That would, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Nope,
So
I could write a short story about that for fun, though. That would be fun, just for like myself. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're doing this, and I'm glad you like writing the way that you
Yeah.
do and making it work. And by the way, again, if you go to warrencreations.com, he's got a podcast, he's got books that he's got short stories. Now, what is Puffy Productions?
So my best friend, this is my co-host. His name is Ethan Nickel. When he was like a little kid, like probably like 9-10 years old, he had this YouTube channel called Puffy Puppets where he would make little short films with puppets he had. And then as he got older, he loved filmmaking. He's like obsessed with it. He likes making short films. He has one short film which is not good. and I'm not saying he did bad. It's because I half directed it and I don't know what I'm doing. So that's kind of my fault. And the fact that the camera is so old, it glitched a lot. So he likes making short films. So he wanted to stick with the Puffy name. So he has Puffy Productions. So that's the name he uses when he makes short films. And then I co-produce them, help with the budget, stuff like that. But that's just it. It's just literally my friend's short films. And
Well,
what's cool is that he wants to go to film school. And if he does, when he's older, he wants to work with me with my books and his ability to filmmake to make stuff out of what I write.
That's a marriage made in heaven.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's how Steven Spielberg got his first. He when
Really?
he was a kid, he used to take his, in those days, it was a Super 8 camera,
Yeah.
in
I've
a
seen that movie,
millimeter.
Super 8.
Yeah, and now everything's digital, right? You can make
No,
a
his
movie on your
camera's
phone.
analog. His camera's analog.
Really?
He uses an old analog camera. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
No,
Well,
he likes old school.
does he do that because of the quality of the film?
He does it because of the quality, because of the grainy way it looks, and at the same time, I'm pretty sure he just prefers analog things.
Ah.
Like he loves old movies, all that kind of stuff.
When you describe an old movie, how old is old?
I'm thinking like 30s,
Oh, wow.
like
Oh,
Orson Welles, that kind of stuff.
oh my goodness gracious. That's a
I
like
like
80-year-old, 90-year-old
like
movie.
Citizen Kane, that kind of old stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, good for him. Good for him.
yeah,
So tell me, Shanti and I talked about
yeah.
being a teenager and being bullied and all that kind of
Oh
stuff. Have
boy.
you experienced that?
Yes, that is oof. But it has so many plus sides, which I'll get to in a second. So my first case of bullying when it came to my writing was, so I used to write short stories and publish them on Amazon, which I regret. They're so bad, but at the same time, I didn't know what I was doing. So my little cousin, for his, I believe, 7th birthday, he was obsessed with a video game called Minecraft.
Hmm.
So I was like, you know what? It's his birthday. I'm his older cousin. He looks up to me. He knows I write. So I decided to take it upon me to write him a short story about Minecraft and making him the main character, because I thought that would be a great gift. Only problem, the only way to get a physical copy with like a cover that looks good is if you do it through KDP. And the only problem with KDP is that once it's published, you can't take it down.
Oh.
So like you can list it not for sale, but the second you go to my author profile, as if they've noticed, you can see all my short stories, which you can't buy them anymore, but they're still there, and like the descriptions and everything. So in freshman year of high school, people somehow found that book, ordered a bunch of copies, and would pass it around school just talking crap about me. Because what they made it out to be was that I was like a video game fanfic writer, which that's whatever. So people would make fun of me. But this is where it gets good. They're buying copies. Money. Right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, if they're spreading it around the school, they're getting my name out for free. So, like, I didn't mind. Like, at the same time, obviously, I don't want to be with my friends eating lunch and have some little idiot come up to me and be like, Ernest, is your book? Like, that's annoying and I hate it. But at the same time, money. So, like, there were some people that didn't make fun of it and they just heard my name. So that when I published my first book, they already knew who I was. So I've gone through a lot of bullying and I still do. There's still people that are obviously like hate on it. But at the same time, like, I don't get why. Like, there was a guy I saw who was bullying Shanti. I put an end to that. I had a little talk with him. And what he did was, I didn't hurt him, I swear. I was literally just a talk. I saw him out in public. I pulled him aside and I had a really nice talk. And this kid would constantly barge into her classes and scream, "Oh, it's that famous author, blah, blah," and just like annoy her in class. Which, like, I get, that's annoying. That's harassment. It's horrible. But at the same time, what are you making fun of her for? Like, being better than you? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. People have done that to me. They're like, "Oh, you're that author guy, ha ha." I'm like, what are you laughing at? That I'm more popular than you? What are you doing, buddy? Like, at the same time, I just don't get it.
Well,
Yeah.
and your boxing training will come in handy,
It
at
has.
one
It
point.
has. It has. It very much
Because
it very much did freshman year. I'm not gonna get into that, but it did. Yeah.
well, the thing is and this goes on, even in adult land as well,
Yeah.
is that when people feel like they're less than, they wanna bring you down to their level,
100%.
because
Million percent.
it's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing that when you're doing something that is really good and really exciting and people like it, they have to tear you down because they ain't doing any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
They're like, you can't be better than me. There's no way." And they get all mad about it, and then they try to
and
make you stoop down their
yeah,
level.
and there's nothing you can do with those people.
There's
You
not.
just gotta let them be, or
Yeah.
you take them out back and talk to them.
Yeah. No, it was genuinely just a talk. I swear. I don't know how to word this. Like, I didn't fight the kid. I swear. I just talked to him. I just scared him a little. I
Well,
just
but
scared him a little. Yeah.
see, the thing is that when you have a boxing background and other people don't know how to fight,
Yeah.
it puts you in a different category, and
Yeah.
people don't want to find out whether or not you're good at what you do or not.
Yeah. I had one of my really close friends was like was like, "Hey, you box?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You're not any good." And I was like, "Do you want to see?" So I gave him a pair of gloves, and I put on my gloves. He was in fetal position within 10 seconds. So, like, I'm not saying I'm amazing at it, but the people I've been against just haven't in general. But it's so funny because my friends are like always like challenging me, and I'm like, "Don't, for your sake, don't." Because I'll like have a photo of my friend. I was like, "You see what happened to let's just make up a name. You'll see what happened to Joey over here. Do you really want that to happen?" So then there's some of my friends who are bigger who could absolutely like beat the crap out of me. So
Well, but if you know how to get out of a situation like that, if you can move and you can
well, no, they
anticipate
wrestle.
and stuff, then you can keep out of situations like that. And
Yeah,
but
like if exactly.
congratulations, you
Yeah,
sounds like you're doing a lot of good things.
yeah. Like if someone tries to start a fight, you never want to like accept it. You always want to get out of a fight. Like if
Yes.
anyone has tried to start a fight with me, every single time I have tried to squash that down. And it has only been maybe one or two times where that hasn't been a choice. Like a lot of people think it's like a wimp move. It is totally okay to run away if someone is trying to fight you. Even if you know how to fight, it is okay to run away. And it's probably the smart option.
Yeah.
Because let's say you do get into a fight with a kid, even if he started it, one wrong hit, one broken jaw, or one like mess up that you do to him could be a lawsuit for you. So you want to run away. Even if, like I said, even if you're trained, you do not want to get into fights. It is really not worth it.
Well, no, that's the thing is and by the way, it's not you who gets sued, it's your parents. And
Exactly.
because they've got the financial means,
Yeah.
and so that's what they're gonna go after. So, no, that's a very bright attitude because
Yeah.
it is not worth it, and by the way, you're 16 in a couple of
Yeah.
years, well, even now, at 16, under certain
You can
circumstances,
get
they can
tried as
try
an
you as
adult.
an adult.
Yeah, they can try as an adult. It's just not worth it. I've known kids who have gotten into fights and they've gotten really, really bad, and now they're like literally locked up. Like it's not worth it. It's not.
Yeah, it's and there are things that people do in life that just astound me. Are you familiar with, January 6th?
Was that the riot?
Yeah, that's the, insurrection at the Capitol.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
My son had a best friend, and he was part of the Proud Boys, and
Oh.
he was actually one of the leaders of the Proud Boys, and so
Oh.
he was there on January 6th, and he went into the Capitol, and he was recently convicted of seditious conspiracy and several other things. He has a daughter who is young and a wife, and now he's going to spend probably 20 years in prison. Some
Yeah.
things just rethink what you're doing because it's not smart.
It's really not.
So,
Yeah.
and you seem like a very down to earth, very bright guy. I would love to have you and Shanti to come on together and
Yeah, I
have
did
to have
talk
a
to her about that.
conversation.
Yeah. I did talk to her about that. She would do that too.
Oh, cool. That would be fun. Do you guys live fairly close to each other?
Oh yeah, we live like 2 miles apart.
Oh, cool.
We
Cool.
see each other all the time. Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, I want everybody to go to warrencreations.com so that you can find out all about him and his books, and buy his books for heaven's sakes. And especially you had one come out in June, one come out in May, and then you've got another one that's coming out very soon, right?
Halloween. This Halloween.
I'm sorry.
This Halloween. It's my longest,
Well,
most in-depth, and scariest
that
book yet.
figures. A horror writer having a book come out on Halloween.
I wanted it to release in October, and Halloween is the perfect day because the editor is going to be done around beginning of October. I can get a cover done right around then, so it's literally perfect timing. Cannot be better.
And that's what you do if you want to market a book well. And
Oh, yeah.
and by the way, tell all the kids that hate on you that to buy the book and read it, and then they can understand why you do what you do.
The only thing that I don't like about that is that some people leave like troll reviews, which seriously screw me over. Like for my book, The
Oh,
Trees Are Breathing. For my book, The Trees Are Breathing. It's obviously it's a supernatural book about like I like folklore. I'm huge into that. So it's a horror book about a folklore creature. And someone gave my book a 1-star review and said not believable. It's a fiction novel. It's not supposed to be believable.
it's fantasy.
Exactly. So like that kind of stuff kind of like, it kind of gets on my nerves. Like listen, if you didn't like it, totally fine, leave your honest feedback. If you thought it deserved a 1-star, like you just didn't like it, totally okay. You can give it a 1-star, you can give your reasoning. I can see eye to eye with you on that. Like I'm not going to be mad. But if you just leave a 1-star just to like screw me over, that kind of pisses me off cuz like why? Right?
Well, and sadly, there are people in the world today that will go to that extreme. Most of the time, if you read a book, they probably didn't even read the book, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you read the book and you don't like it, well, it wasn't your
Yeah.
style, but you can appreciate the author, that
Exactly.
the hard work they put in on it, and you just let it be. The gospel according to Paul McCartney, just let it be. And
Exactly.
but some people decide they don't want to do that because they want to be, excuse the expression, they want to be an asshole.
No, they do. They do. They literally just are like, I'm gonna be a dick to this kid who's trying hard, and they're like, how can I do this? Oh yeah, let me not even read his book and give it 1 star. Like, I don't get it.
Well,
It's annoying.
it's just remember, you just take care of yourself,
Yeah,
and everything else will come in a positive way,
yeah,
and you just let those people go,
yeah.
and don't
It's
worry about them
yeah,
because
exactly. Like, I
go
agree.
ahead.
You just can't like let it sit with you. It's gonna
Well,
eat
one
you
of my
up.
favorite sayings is, "It's none of my business what you think of me."
My favorite saying, which I use this every single day. Shanti hates that I use this saying. I always say it is what it is when something doesn't go my way because she's always like, why do you say that? You can change it. And I was like, no, if there's something that's wrong and I can't fix it, it is what it is. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to, it's like the say la vie, it's life. Like I'm not going to stress about it. Like if someone gives me 1 star, I can't change that. It is what it is. I can't spend my day moping around think, oh, they didn't like my book because I know that a lot of other people do. So you can't
Well,
just,
and at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with their own
yeah.
insecurities and what's going on in their life, and you can actually just say, "I'm sorry that your life sucks," and
Or
so
it's just
you
not their genre. They leave 1-star review because it's not their genre and they just didn't like it. Like I said, I can respect someone for that. If
yeah.
someone leaves a 1-star review and gives fair criticism, that's perfect. Thank you for helping me with criticism. I can use that. It's just the people that are like bad. Like what's bad? Tell me what I can improve upon. That's what the whole rating system's for. Tell me how I can fix it. Don't just like come on, man.
They don't even know.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they have no constructive criticism. They don't even
Yeah.
know. They just are like bad, very bad. So
I've received constructive criticism and it's been extremely helpful. Like like I love that. Like please tell me what
yeah,
I can do better. Don't just, be annoying about it.
Well, you're a smart guy, and I think you're going to do very, very well in our
I
world.
hope so. I hope so.
And I think you're going to be an author of note. And I'll have to keep up on and follow you along to what you're
Yeah.
doing, because it really is cool what you're doing.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
congratulations. And by the way, we have been talking with Asher Warren. Go to his website again, which is warrencreations.com. And anything else you'd like to add before we run away, sir?
Not really. Just all the advice I've been giving or everything I've said, just please listen. Like even just like the fight thing, it has nothing to do with writing. Please listen, I promise you. Things will go your way.
Yes, indeed. And if I'm fighting is not all it's cracked up to be, and it
It's
can
really
be.
not. It's not that
And
fun, guys. It
no,
hurts. Hitting someone hurts you. Like it hurts your knuckle. It's just not fun. It's not fun for anyone. Don't do it.
exactly. Well, now I will tell you that because I had the experience. The only time I've been in jail was when I had this experience boxing at the reformatory, which is basically a prison.
Yeah.
And you never want to trust me. If you go to one of those places as a visitor, you will never, ever, ever want to be there as an inmate. It's
Oh, I
dangerous.
bet. I've seen, what is it, Beyond Scared Straight? Like that stuff.
You've seen what now?
It's a TV show where it's where parents take their kids that are like doing awful stuff, like selling
Oh yeah,
drugs,
yeah,
abusing
yeah,
their parents, and they make them experience what it's like. That stuff. I've
yeah.
seen that. It's horrible.
Think about if it were to happen to you for real,
Yeah.
and you're
They can't
ending up.
touch you. You're a kid. They can't hit you in that show. If you go there for real,
Yep,
all hands on deck.
yep. You certainly don't want to pick up a bar of soap. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be a mistake.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Asher, thank you so much for coming on,
Yeah.
and
Thank you for having me.
I've enjoyed this interview, and we'll do this again. This will be
Hopefully.
fun.
I hope.
Love to have the both of you on at the same
Yeah, I'll
time.
talk
I
to
think
her.
we'd have a really good time.
I'll talk to her about it.
Yes, sir. So you take care of yourself. Have a great. Well, summer's over for you, doggone it.
Yes.
But
Sadly, this is my last week.
oh, brother,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, anyway, school's good. Get good grades and
Try.
graduate with honors and all that kind of good stuff.
Yep.
Or just write yourself into great big career. I think you're gonna have one. I really do.
Really hope so. I really hope so. I mean, it's going well at a young age, and I did research. Most authors, I didn't know that, started in like their 30s. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm starting half that. So
Very few now I've done in my broadcasting career, I've done over 2,000 interviews.
whoa.
And you and Shanti are the only teenage authors.
Really?
I mean, now Shanti is nothing short of amazing because she can write 1,000 words an hour. She tells me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, it's
and
crazy.
you've got 4 books out, but I haven't. I just you guys don't exist. There aren't very many people your age that are doing what
I
you're
know
doing.
it surprises me. There's so many people at my school that I would like think would do that, or like even on like my social media, on like my TikTok, I get a bunch of messages from people like me that are like they write a book, but then a lot of the times they're too afraid to put themselves out there.
Yep.
Because they're like, I'm afraid of criticism, and I'm just like, listen, publish your first book. Your first book is never going to be your greatest. It's a stepping stone for your future achievements. Just publish it, get it out there, and improve upon it. Like that's all you got to do.
Well, and that's the thing. You need to go through the experience of doing it all and doing the editing and the illustrations and putting it all together, so you know how to do it.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool. Thank you again, Asher, for being here. Asher Warren has been our guest. Go to warrencreations.com and wait right there. I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of PositiveTalkRadio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named PositiveTalkRadio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we got.